Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Brian Pacheco, and he is the director of the upcoming film. Let me see if I pronounce it correctly. Melancholy, right?
Melancholy.
Melancholy.
Yep,
That's close.
close enough.
Close enough.
Yes. Hey guys.
Right. So first question I do. Oh, first of all, how are you doing?
Pretty good. It's Wednesday, I think. Hopefully.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh my God. It's one of those days. It's one of those weeks. Then yeah.
Right?
It's pretty good. Can't complain.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So I guess the first question I have, and a lot of people might be wondering, is how'd you get your start into filmmaking?
Yeah, so mainly with film, it's always been something I've always been interested as a kid, watching up horror movies and stuff. So like it was something that I always was interested in, but didn't know how to get a start. I had some really good friends in the indie community. They've always reached out to me, hey, you want to do this? You want to do that? And I was like, yeah. And it slowly became that thing of like, oh, I got this little role. I know I'm not probably the best actor, but I was definitely looking as far like directing, producing, writing. That's kind of like where I'm at, like at a high level, like right off the gates. I was like, I'm just gonna start directing my own movies, doing my own castings, all that. And it's a fun process. Like whoever's done it knows how crazy it gets, but it's fun for sure.
Yeah, it really can be crazy and very stressful. I mean, I don't know if you started filming yet, but the scheduling process is probably the hardest and most stressful process of filmmaking.
Yeah, it's like weather.
Yeah,
like because most of these indie movies they're very low budget. I think Melancholy has like a budget of like $1,000 or $5,000. It's between those two. Because if we haven't finished filming yet, and they could cost more, it costs less, but it's right between those. And like sometimes we're like, all right, see you guys this date. And the day, like without no warning, rain happens and everyone's traveling far away, 2-hour drives, an hour drive. Yeah. Most people can't make it because, I don't want anyone to have like an accident on like heading over to one of my sets or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a rewarding process though. Yeah, it's fun.
It really is. I know like with my first, give me one second, I'm turning my Apple Watch off because I keep getting these car warranty telemarketers calling me.
If you need that warranty extended, you need that extendo.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but with scheduling, like I know with our first movie, with scheduling was so horrendous because people would be like, well, I can't do these dates. I'm like, okay, well, I need to match all these people that are in the scene together for those dates. And like, I can't do these dates. Then we have it ready to go, 2 days left until we start to film and everything. Like, you know what? Something came up. I can't do this day now. It's like, really? We were just filming this day. Now you're telling me we can't do it. Now I got to redo all of the scenes that we're going to shoot that day that don't include their character. And it's like,
Yeah, it's one of those like we had for the first Melancholy, it was like 2 weeks ago. A lady we were expecting her to show up. She lives like around like 2 hours away, and she couldn't make it like at all. Yeah. And I was like, man, like we're gonna start like right now. And I was like, all right, we're gonna have to like unify the characters and then have her be some other character and switch shit up that way. And then it was one of those things, and it worked out like perfect, man. Like I couldn't tell how it went, man, but like when people see it, they're gonna be like, okay, I see what people did here to make this happen.
Nice. Yeah, sometimes you got to come with something creative when you're doing a movie, because if you don't, like, it's not gonna make sense, or you got to delay filming. And postponing it isn't just time consuming; it also costs money.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. Yeah, it's like producers will breathe on your neck sometimes and be like, so what you gonna do now? I was like, I don't know. You gotta think like everything happened within like 10 minutes because we were like expecting to show up. Like I'm like 2 hours away. 2 hours later, I can't make it, and I'm like, crap. All right. I think we even started shooting when I got that message of her. Like, all right, we'll just add you in later. It's just one of those things, man.
Exactly. So for those that are unaware, what is this film about?
So this is a back to basics of the older, like I like older genre movies that multiple or different genres that people don't even talk about or know about. This is a sexploitation film, like right off the gates. I know most people haven't heard the term. Every time I talk to people who haven't heard about it, they're like, well, what's a sexploitation? I was like, well, sexploitation is mainly, it's an exploitation film that has like, but it's like everything's like amped up nudity, all that. It's like ramped up to like 11. It is a roughie. Roughies are, some people even call them predecessors to slashers to some point. So it definitely has that tone to it. It's like a very darker tone. Most of those movies that sexploited were lighter tone. Like they were like nudist camps, and then they were like shoot, like no dialogue. It would just be just that. But this one has a ton of dialogue in it. People are gonna like. but yeah, Melancholy is a back to basics exploitation roughie that it's very unique, and it's gonna be shot in black and white, just like how those films were.
Okay.
So that's one of the key things we're going for. It's gonna look very clean, like black and white, like sharp as you can be.
Nice.
But yeah, it's about two detectives by the names of Mel and Connie. We find a way to tie those in with the title. Yeah, it's about I was thinking about like Melancholy. What would be the two detectives? I'm like, it's a detective story, right? I'm like, yeah, detectives. Like right off the bat, I was like, Mel, all right, and Connie. Nice. So we tie that way in. Yeah, two detectives are on the lookout for a sex fiend criminal, and it starts in a sorority house, and then stuff just spiralwards. It has a downward spiral, and it's a wild movie. It's a ride.
Nice.
First we finished. The movie's gonna be about 115 minutes or so. No, actually, an hour and 15 minutes. My bad. It's gonna be a very short story, 75 minutes long. Yeah, we already shot the first 30 minutes, and it's fantastic. Like it's great. Like I was just looking at clips of it. I haven't got to editing process. I'm like, this with a nice score is gonna look awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it just female nudity, male nudity, mix of both?
It's a mix of both. Yeah. That's something that I didn't want to shy away from, or like, because I know mainly like horror movies, they're almost always female dominated.
Right.
Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's the one thing I feel like it's always been missing. Like male nudity is almost like taboo, even in cinema nowadays. It's like no, like oh we can't have that. No one wants to see that. I'm like no, we're gonna throw that in there. Like no, we're not afraid of anything.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. And that's how you get other demographics in as well. You get, the LGBTQ community, you get, females, because obviously, like, do you think, like, like heterosexual females want to just see, other females naked? So you get the female demographic in there as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one thing too. Even with Sexploitation back then, they always had that homoerotic feel to them at certain movies. They were really rare, those, because it was still like a taboo even for back then within 60s and 70s, but it was still there. So I do want to have those homages in for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've seen like Basket Case and Brain Damage, all those. You have the shower scene of the guy just like naked in the shower, and you have Kevin Van Henrik running down New York naked, with no budget. I think he had like a van open, and he had like run out of the van and go back into the van. It was like that. So we did. Yeah, so we did want to get those homages in. And yeah, like show like, hey, like nudity isn't only for females. Like, it's gonna be for dudes too in this, and at least in my universe and my films, they're gonna have that for sure.
Absolutely. So, where did you come up with this idea for this movie?
So, believe it or not, it was about 3 years ago. I had a conversation with Frank Henenlotter, the director of Basket Case, and it was a Creature Feature weekend. Shout out to Craig Straminski. He who runs the con. He's a great guy, and I'm going a few days too. He'll be there. But I talked to Frank, and I was like, hey, Frank, like we talked for like an hour. And like one of the last things I said to him, like, Frank, like, would it be a genre you would love to see come back that you haven't seen? Do you want to see exploitation come back at a certain point? Do you want to get like remakes of your own films? And he was like, well, the thing is, what I want to see is back in the indie community, because it's never going to happen mainstream again. It's exploitation films. He's like, that's something that it just died with no reason at all. Like it was just gone. He explained too, like those movies were making like huge hits at the box office when they were out, and then slowly they kind of like died out in itself, and mainstream, I guess the mainstream movies kind of took over like dramas and stuff. So it kind of spiraled into that words, and then it stopped. But there's always movies out there that you will get hints of sexploitation. Like I would say 50 Shades of Grey is a sexploitation movie. It's like one of those. I know those are like more S&M ones, but it's just up there as far as exploitation movies go. It's kind of mainstream, but yeah, like that stuff like kind of died into indies. He said because the indies you can do anything you want, and not care of like what everyone says or does. You can just do it, and it's out there. So yeah,
absolutely.
That's where.
So what do you think is the hardest part in getting this movie completed?
So I would say like the hardest part of getting the movie completed is the people are very are into it as far as the actors goes. I think the hardest thing would be getting a release. I'm not worried too much about distribution, because if it gets distributed, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I also like getting a premiere out of this, because I feel like people are gonna get like raged about it, like oh my god, this is the sexist movie. Like get those people out there. But it's not sex. Like it's a very I would say it's a very feminist movie that everyone has everything. Like
Right.
everyone is equal in this movie, so no one's above or anything. It's right between everything.
Right.
But yeah, I'll say like far as getting a release, and getting people that won't take pictures of this movie in the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of it, man. Like
Yeah.
it's heavy.
I can't wait to see it. I think it's gonna be something different because you don't
Yeah.
see a lot of these movies out there, especially that in depth and that detailed.
Yeah, it took a lot of studying with it. Like I had to do a ton of research for the shots to like recreate some shots. And the movie took like 10 takes, and we finally got them right. So you get that feel. It's a modern take on it. Like it's not like completely old style, but because it's modern takes, the shots look beautiful in black and white. But yeah.
Absolutely. So is there going to be, or will there be, or is there currently an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign for the movie?
There is, yeah. It's a Melancholy dash Sexploitation film. I'll hand you the link. I'm pretty sure it'll be somewhere around here. But yeah, there's it's the perks are very cheap. Yeah, that's one thing I want to make it. The perks are very accessible for everyone, so everyone who wants to help out can help out without breaking the bank. I know we're living in tough times with gas prices are insane. Everything's expensive, so that's one thing I took in consideration when making it. Everyone can definitely chip in like $5. I think it's like $5 minimum we have. I know mainly like some Indiegos are like 10, 20, but yeah, everyone can definitely chip in for that one and pick some stuff out.
Yeah, I know gas here was 420 something like a couple weeks ago. Now it's at 383 or whatever, and I filled up again today, and I literally, it seems like it didn't even go down any in my price range. Because it's like I'm still paying close to $40 to fill my tank up.
Yeah, mine's across where I live at. There's a gas station. That one is like 445 still.
Okay.
And then, but if you drive like 10, if you drive up like 5 minutes up north of town, there's like one for like 378.
Yeah.
And that's where I always go. I'm like, it's worth the drive. It's worth the drive.
Yeah, exactly. I know that. Because I'm originally from northeastern Pennsylvania. I think it's like 440 something up there still. It's like, we
had it bad. Yeah, like I think it was almost up to like $6.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
And I was like, this ain't California. Like.
Right. Yeah. Maryland's always cheaper than Pennsylvania, so I know when I'm in Maryland, I'm like, okay, well now I got a budget. This amount because when I come home, because that's how much is gonna be going into my tank in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like because I think they even raised the gas tax here, so it's even harder.
Yeah,
so
and Maryland doesn't even have a gas tax, so that's why it's
they don't.
Cheaper.
No, you're so lucky, man.
I know.
I'm moving. I'm moving this time.
Yes, how about that? Absolutely. So, when and where will filming take place, and do you have an anticipated release date or year for the film?
Yeah. So mainly filming is done in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. We're going to shoot some scenes in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I think that's the two locations we're filming at. Mainly, it would be those two, and I think we should have a release date. I'm pretty sure by November the film is going to be done editing, so we should expect a release. Because I do have another film before this that I want to drop called Toys Were Not for Children. So that one might drop around February. Because I want to have like 4 or 5 month gap between them. So you should see Toys around February, and then Melancholy should drop around May or June.
Okay, awesome. That sounds like a plan. So excited to see this. So obviously you are a filmmaker, and you know the ropes, at least to an extent, I would hope, of being a filmmaker. So if someone wants to start making a movie, like what advice would you give them based on maybe mistakes you made in the past and your experience?
Yeah, I would say networking is probably gonna be your best bet. Finding filmmakers in your area and be like, hey, well, don't just ask this one person's opinion, ask multiple, and then make it your own. That would be that's what I did. I did it too late because even when I started filming, I only had advice from like one person, and they're like, just have this and just shoot it. And I was like, what I do afterwards? They're like, they disappeared on me. But if you have your film, I would say before making any movie, get a feel around a set. Like get that feel around you, and then be like, okay, this is how things work. They got the lights, you got the camera, you got your audio. make sure everything's just in tip top. You don't even got to get expensive camera. We're shooting Melancholy on a GoPro.
Right.
And that thing only cost me like $180 and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
At least well enough for what I want it to be used
Yeah.
for.
And you could, if you have an iPhone, you could just use your iPhone and put it in 4K, because we shot 72 on our iPhone. It came out beautifully.
Yeah. Because there's even some movies shot. I think even Christopher Nolan shot a movie on an iPhone. So
yeah.
It's not that hard. Yeah. Just make sure you have enough memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it would really suck if you're in the middle of a shoot and in the middle of a scene, and you're next thing you know, it stopped recording and it says no more memory.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be stuck in like, oh, we're done for today, and then like save the memory somewhere. Yeah, or have like a flash drive, like super quick. All right, we got 2 more minutes left in. But yeah, just make sure you get that memory card in.
Absolutely. So the last question I do got for you: do you have any other projects in the works that you would like to promote to the listening and the viewing audience? Yeah,
so we do have Toys Were Not for Children. That's my first film. It's gonna be coming out. You're gonna see a lot of promotion for it pretty soon.
Okay.
After Melancholy shoots, like it wraps up, we're gonna announce more projects. So just take a look at my Facebook page called Tainted Poison Film Productions. Okay. That's where you're gonna be like up to most of the date with most of my films. Plus we have one documentary that's part of that. I'm not directing it. Catherine Andrea is directing it. It's called Lighting Up the Night. It's a documentary of like mental health. So yeah, that's something it's a really good story that she has going on, and all the interviews
are coming on the show as well, and we're going to be promoting both Melancholy and that. So that's exciting. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, awesome. She's a really good friend to me, and yeah, like she's also she's a lead in Melancholy. Nice. Right next to my friend Andrew. Man, I can't remember. Andrew Lynch. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me when I almost butcher his last name up. But yeah, it's a really good some stuff coming up there. I can see 2023 we might be shooting 2 more movies, maybe 3, but those are like secret for now.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. And if you have anybody else from the cast or the crew that want to come on, just send them my way, and I will be more than happy to have them on the show. And I know I'm booked most of August. I'm starting to book up September. I have a couple of spots left there, so we can book up in September, and I can go into September and October with some of the cast members. Just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to have them on promote the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely try to get Andrew on. I know Andrew's a busy guy, but he's definitely fun to talk to for sure.
Awesome.
You definitely love him.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you, Brian, for joining me today.
Awesome, Scotty. No, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yep, not a problem. You have a great rest of your day.
You too, man. Thank you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.